We're with Katie Dulz and Kayla Smoragiewicz, two of the captains on the Eastern Connecticut swimming team. The Warriors getting ready to open their 19th intercollegiate season on October 18th at the St. Joseph Pentathlon Invitational. Ladies, you've been practicing for about 2 weeks now. How are things going? Katie?
I'd say pretty well. Overall, Coach has done a bunch of stroke practices so far, like a handful, which is good because she can gauge out what events all the girls can swim. And even though the pentathlon is our first meet where everyone swims every event, she's able to see like where you should be as far as times go and like what she expects from you. And overall, I think we've been giving a great effort. And she even mentioned to us like when we were practicing the other day that we look really good this season and that like so far we look really strong as a team together. So I think that's awesome.
Kayla, how about you?
I agree with her. This is, like, we're in love with all the newcomers that are on our team this year. We're very close this year. Everyone's been looking really great, and all the coaches have complimented us so far with, like, working well together, and everyone's working really hard in practices, so we should have a good season.
Would you consider this to be a veteran team? I mean, you have 11 swimmers back from last year. Like, would you consider it to be an experienced team?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I would say so. Like, we definitely, like you said, we have a lot of returning swimmers, which is always good for us. And then we have a couple newcomers, and so far, yeah, for the most part, the rankings are upperclassmen and returning sophomores as well. So it's really, really cool that we're able to get a lot of swimmers back from the previous season since they obviously enjoyed it. So it's always a good feeling. Yeah.
We'll go back quickly to last year. You guys lost a bunch of swimmers midway through the season. Then your team went into the New England team, finished 5th. Kayla, do you think you guys surprised some people thinking that after you had lost those swimmers that maybe the team wouldn't do very well?
I think it definitely took a lot of us by surprise. I mean, it was a hard season last year when a lot of like close friends and swimmers decided to leave the team, but it definitely brought our team closer, and I feel like it probably made us work a lot harder. And so once we got to New England, we all went in with a goal, and we were really happy with the results that came out.
Well, before we get into any specifics, just wanted to ask you ladies something, that the swimming season is such a long season. I mean, you guys actually start before basketball starts, and everyone always says basketball's a long season. You start before basketball, you end at about the same time. Talk about how difficult it is, not only to be a 3 or 4 year swimmer, but over the course of a year, how difficult is it to mentally and physically?
Yeah, it definitely takes like a lot out of you. Like we have our annual training trip usually around December break, and usually it gets up to about like December, and you're just like, all right, like now I just gotta keep pushing it, I gotta keep going. And you get back from the trip from Florida in January, and you are just like stressed out to the max, but you know that New England's is right around the corner, and everyone really gives their best effort. Like that's what I really noticed like last year with the team, is that a lot of the swimmers were really strong during January, which was awesome because that's when you have to keep the best positive mental state as well as physical and emotional.
Kayla, how about you? I mean, you're a 4 year swimmer. There's a couple of 4 year swimmers on the team. Mm-hmm. Every year, do you ever reevaluate whether you want to go through this again? Do you ever come to your senses?
People could definitely vouch for me. It goes through my head every year, especially during the season. It goes through my head the most of like I come back again, like I'm going through it again. Yeah. Usually up till about LEC time, which is the first week in December. That's when everyone's just like, oh yeah, like team's great, like we have so much fun. Our first championship meet, we did great. And then we all realize we have about 3 months left. Yeah. And that's the time when everyone really reevaluates themselves. But for me, those few months, like the training trip and in January, definitely the hardest parts of the season for me. But making it to New England, and by the time I'm done with New England, it usually hits me that's like, of course I'm coming back next year. Like this is the reason why I swam for 5 months. Once
you get to that point, you realize why you put in all that time.
Yeah, because you see your results, and then you realize that it was worth doing it.
Would you guys say so far in your lives that it's one of the tougher things you've ever done?
Oh gosh,
yeah, this is definitely the toughest thing.
100%.
I mean, compared to when we were younger and swimming on YMCA teams, this is a short season. swimming is like an all-year-round sport. When you're on a YMCA team, it takes up a 3-day weekend when it comes to meets.
I don't know, like you. Same thing with like we had the three
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, we had a 3-day weekend, and then it would literally be winter season. You would get maybe like 2 weeks off, and you jump into spring, and it's just like
New season starts
around the clock, like
really
season sport. Oh yeah, definitely when you're younger. So that's why going into this, you have the mental mind state like I can make 5 months. It's tougher because obviously the practices get harder. But
and you're in college.
Yeah, exactly. So you also have to balance like your work as well as school work with it. So it's definitely like a challenge. But compared to like the seasons we had when we were growing up, it's like about the same, like longer.
That's unusual because most people when they get to college, it's then a longer season than it was when they were young. But it's just the other way around for swimming.
Yeah, this is shorter for us actually.
I think the thing though is when you're like 12 or like 11 or younger than
you
that,
have the energy to do it.
Right, you have the energy to do it. You can like keep going.
Now you're old, right?
Yeah, I have the energy anywhere for this.
So the thing that really gets you going during the year is that vacation you get to go to in January, right? But no, let's talk about that because people think you go down there. You're in Florida, but that doesn't mean it's a vacation. How grueling is that trip? Talk about like a typical day on that week-long trip.
Well, there's usually about 3 practices a day. Usually wake up right in the morning and we go for a run. And usually it's like around a 30-minute run, and then we'll do maybe some like weights or just some like core work. Then we jump in for a morning practice, which is a 2-hour pool practice, and it's in a distance pool, which we're not used to. So you're also getting used to a much longer pool. It's an outdoor pool. Everyone gets sunburned.
Yeah.
And then usually we come back, have some lunch. You have the choice of either going to the beach for an hour or 2 or taking a nap for an hour or 2, and then you go back for another 2-hour practice.
And don't you run there? Don't you have to run to the practice?
We have the run in the morning, and usually if we get there, the day we get there and we have enough time at night, like that's what we did last year. Coach had us run at night just to get ourselves like started and get ourselves like off the plane ride, warm our legs up for the next morning.
Yeah. So we always walk to the pool and back. So we're constantly doing some sort of
like
exercise.
mile and a half walk too.
Really?
Yeah. So we walk to practice and from practice. Sometimes we have to run to practice.
Yeah.
Depending on when our dry lands are set up for that day. Because each usually practice times, we get different times every day. So sometimes we'll have the pool in the morning from like 6 to 8. And then we'll do our dry lands afterwards and then have the pool from like 2 to 4. Mm-hmm.
So really, you don't have much free time. An hour or so, maybe.
My dad always
sleeping.
Yeah, my dad always makes a joke like, "You guys go to Florida, you're so lucky." I'm like, "You will never understand like the struggle we go through to this day." It's so funny.
You must get when you get older. You probably cringe every time someone mentions going to Florida for vacation.
Yeah.
The hardest decision is whether to take a nap or to go to the beach.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the hardest decision.
Yeah. Well, probably a lot of times you're going to take a nap, right?
Oh my gosh.
I usually chose the nap.
Usually nap.
You get enough sun during practice that you don't really need to go to the beach.
Well, ladies, let's talk a little bit. Let's go back to this year. We'll talk a little bit about this year's team. We said you had 11 letter winners back, which is an experienced team for you guys.
Yep.
You got some of your top people back in virtually every stroke. Let's just go down the list if we can. Let's talk about some of the people. Let's talk about everybody that came back. Talk about them, what they add to the team, what their strengths are, things like that. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about one of your other seniors, one of your 5 seniors, Abby Arisco, and she's also a 4-year. She'll be in her 4th year. Mm-hmm. Does anyone want to start with Abby?
All right.
Abby, she's
she might be watching this.
I know she's staring at me. Abby, she is a captain with us this year. We're all really happy. The 3 of us get along great. She is a great distance swimmer, and she also does a lot of our butterfly events. And it's like we lost one of our distance swimmers last year, but Abby's definitely going to be one to like step it up, and she'll probably come back with really good times. I'm not sure if she's going to be doing more distance or butterfly this year, but she is definitely strong in whatever she does do, and she's going to get a lot of points for us this year. So
great. Katie, you want to talk about Shannon Barnard? This is her 2nd year. She was a transfer, and she's a senior also.
Yeah, she is definitely like one of the greatest assets we have to our team by far. She came in last year, and it definitely helped us out with the breaststroke because last year it was me, her, and Katie King, and we were like the 3 lone breaststrokers. And then now this year it's just me and Shannon, which is fine. because she definitely holds her own in like all aspects of the sport. With any stroke, she's able to step up and be able to swim anything that coach asks her. She's also a really good teammate. She really cares about the team, as well as giving her all in practice all the time. Like, she's usually one of the first people to jump in the water, and usually one of the first people to swim into the wall and finish the set, which is great. And she's a good motivator to the girls as well. So she's definitely a great asset.
That was a nice addition last year to have someone come in with college experience.
Yeah.
Correct?
Oh, absolutely. And she came from Southern, which is the D2 team. So that was great that she could bring that experience with us, and she was able to definitely help us out with times as far as all the events go. So that was great.
Well, did she ever, Katie? Did she ever talk to you about what what it was like at Southern in terms of as compared to what the training is like at Eastern? Did she ever talk about that?
A little bit. I think she mentioned about how the practices were a little bit tougher just because she's at a D2 school, and I think the size of the team was bigger. I think overall, though, she adapted to our practices really well, and I think that she said that they were different but not too far apart, which was good for us. So she was able to jump right into our practices and not really have any difficulty at all. Not that I imagined she would, but...
It was pretty seamless for her.
Right, yeah, she was able to transfer over very well, which was awesome.
Kayla, talk about now Jessica Sharon. She's a sophomore. She's back for her second year. What will she bring to your team?
Jess is also another distance swimmer. She surprised us all last year. She came in. She's also a backstroker. A lot of us, when she came in last year, we didn't know that she was a distance swimmer. And when she started getting in it, by the time she made it to New England, she was pulling out these like crazy times. We were all so happy for her. She dropped so much time throughout the year. And she's always like a positive attitude coming to practice. She's really goofy. She bonds to everyone on the team really well, so we're really happy to have her back, and she'll definitely be someone to look out for this year.
She'll have to be one of those people as only a sophomore, and she'll have to sort of carry the torch, so to speak, after you guys graduate.
She'll be earning a lot of points for us as just a sophomore.
How about Katie? How about Shannon Coleman, another 4-year person, just like Kayla is, and Abby. Shannon Coleman, she's a senior. Talk about what Shannon brings.
Shannon is an awesome asset. We realized last year she really started moving and like grooming in every practice. Like, she really was going first in any lane that she was in. She was going first. She really pulled out great times as well. I remember her saying that last season was her best season by far that she's swam overall. In her 3 years since it was last year, it was her best season for his times and everything, and she really pushed it. And I remember her saying to me this season, she's like, I want to try as hard as I can. And she has in past seasons as well, don't get me wrong, but just last season she really cranked it out and delivered, and she was definitely a great asset. She takes practices really seriously, which is great, but she also is there. She bonds really well with like the underclassmen, and she gets a good bond with them, which is great. So she's definitely a great asset to our team.
Do you guys see, going from your freshman to your sophomore year, once you a year into the program, do you see a lot of improvement the second year? You know what I mean? Once you understand the whole concept?
I definitely think so, because with your first year, you don't really know how practices are going to be as far as coming from your high school or the team that you started before. You really don't know how the practices are going to coincide with each other, so you kind of adapt that year, and then the year after that, you're like, all right, I know what to expect at the beginning of the season, mid-season, for taper, for everything. You know more of the practices and what coach is looking for, and she can still throw a wrench in there and like throw you off, but for the most part, for the most part, like, you know what to expect. So I think you're better prepared for the practices, which is awesome, because then you're able to know how to swim better in meets. So
we'll expect big things from her.
Right, yeah.
Kayla, how about Sarah Fralick? She is a junior.
Yeah, she honestly, she's improved so much every year. She's that one girl on the team where off season, she's the one in the pool all the time. She's like continuing to work on her stroke and get better, and she has improved so much. You can tell that she works hard in every practice that she comes to. She definitely stands up, and she definitely takes charge in like the things that she likes to work on, and she comes in with a goal, and she is like not scared about doing whatever it takes to reach her goal for the end of the season. And so I'm really excited to see what she does this year, because I saw her improve so much last year, and I can only see her like getting better and better from here. So it should be a good season for her.
I'll tell you, you gotta have so much respect for the swimmers that come and work really, really hard
Yeah.
every day and
I
don't
give
get
her
any
so much
accolades.
respect.
You know,
Yeah, we joke
don't finish
too.
among the leaders.
Yeah, like she's the team mom. 'Cause she
Yeah,
always
she
brings
is.
cookies to the meets and stuff.
We call her the team
and it's
mom.
awesome. But yeah, she practices off season with Coach Bill.
Yeah, she does.
Like he always comes
She'll go in the
first day
morning.
of practice. Like, you know what? Sarah's been training so hard. Like she's swam with me for like a month before practice, and she's been kicking butt. And we're like, awesome.
We were sleeping.
We're just like, that's great. Like, so it's always good that she really tries really hard, which is all we can ask.
Chemistry means a lot to a team.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
From
She's
the
a
top
great one
the
to look
bottom.
up to, for especially incoming freshmen, especially if they're not quite sure on the team or think practices are too hard. She's definitely someone to look up to for those people because she literally, it's just like has it set in her mind and she just works for it.
Those are the kind of teammates you want.
Absolutely.
Now, who wants to talk about McCare Jones? Freestyler, junior. McCare's a junior.
Yeah. McCare is McCare. She's such a riot. I love that girl. She definitely comes to practice, and during the sprint sets, she dominates. She is one of our fastest sprinters that we have on the team. She's a 50 free sprinter, which is great, and she has a really great time, and she just tries her best to just dominate in the races that she can, and she really tries, and she has a really good personality to adjust to as well. Like if you're when you're coming into season and you're new, or just she's a really great person to rely on. She's always there, like when you need to talk to her about anything, which is I really value in a person. So she's just great, and she's a phenomenal asset to our team, hands down. Like every meet, she always scores points for us, and she's great at what she does.
She'll be one of the top 3 or 4 on the season,
Oh, absolutely.
right? Now, how about Natalie Stepneski? She is a sophomore.
Nat is great. Nat comes back for her second year. She had an awesome first year. I definitely had a lot of conversations with her last year because she's also a backstroker like I am. And she loves to, she has her set times in her head, and she tells me what she wants to be able to go by her junior and senior year, and she tells me that she wants to, step it up. She wants to, have her time drop every year, and there's not one doubt in my mind that she's not going to, do it. She's going to have her times are going to drop so much. And she's coming back and doing backstroke this year. She might be put in a little bit more IM this year, from what I heard so far, and which is great. She has a great IM. She definitely has great butterfly and everything. So she's definitely going to be a strong asset to our team this year.
Well, do you think is IM an area where we're going to need people to step up?
Yeah, IM is definitely one of the areas where we're going to need to step up. Our seniors last year, like Erin McVeigh, who graduated, she was a big IMer.
Yeah.
And so we have a few people who are, right now just kind of going around to see who's going to be doing what. But Nat is definitely one of those people to watch out for. She's great with she's one of those girls that you can put in any event and she's going to do well in it. And so coach is probably very happy that she's very flexible with all the races that she can be put in.
That's a valuable person to your team. Yeah. Your season's just about to start, but is it a foolish question to say, is it possible that everything isn't set in stone already in terms of who exactly is going to swim one event?
Gosh,
it's not.
It changes so much
definitely.
through the season. I mean, it could be early season 2 months, and you'll be put in an event that you haven't swam before. And coach is just I just want to see what you can do. And, I mean, it can change, and for the rest of the season you can be swimming a new stroke or swimming a new event if your time comes out really well. So it's it can change through the year.
But when you're coming up younger, when you're young and you're coming up through the ranks, isn't there 1 or 2 events that you think or strokes that you think are your best?
Yeah, when you're younger, you can qualify for age groups as well as there's higher levels above that, but that's one of the things you can qualify for age groups. And I was always qualifying for backstroke. I don't know if you did a different stroke when you were younger, but I'm not a backstroker now. I'm a breaststroker, so it's just really funny that I switched from then till when I got to high school. I switched from backstroke to breaststroke, and I've been breaststroker for a while. But yeah, you were different as well.
I used to do distance on my YMCA team. My coach was just a big. He was a big distance coach. He put all of his swimmers kind of in distance, and then it wasn't until I reached high school that I started sprinting, and now sprinting is all I do. So it's swimming is one of those sports where it's just it can take a few years, but you can be trained into doing a bunch of different events and different strokes that you never thought that you would end up doing. So especially freshmen coming in, they might have it set in their head, like the events that they're good at and at what they're doing. But by their senior year, they might leave doing completely different strokes than they thought that they were going to be doing.
So basically, could the coach one season talk to you and say, we're graduating this person, this person, this person next year, so you're going to have to learn how to do this event or this stroke? Could that be a scenario?
As long as they have like a decent background in the event, and it's like they've swam it before and they have a good time. Coach has done it before.
It's a numbers thing too. Like I said, me and Shannon Bernard right now are the only set breaststrokers, and so it's kind of a numbers thing because we're limited, and there are a bunch of backstrokers on the team. So who knows? After this meet this weekend, someone might be switching from a backstroker to breaststroker. It's honestly all up in the air at this point. So definitely in the beginning of the season, things could easily change like within a week.
It's all about numbers.
You guys were saying that's why the pentathlon is important?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because like we were saying, like, coach really gauges like what you can swim after that meet and your times and how you'll be doing for the rest of the season in that certain event. So, like, someone could go in being a backstroker and then they do really well in the 100 breaststroke, or she thinks that your stroke is great, like your form and everything is phenomenal. So she's like, all right, maybe I'm going to start moving into breaststroke now, which it could happen. So that's why this meet is really fundamental to our team in the beginning of the season.
So there could be a lot of changes down the road, or some changes.
Yeah.
And now, Rebecca Stewart, she's a junior. She's a second-year transfer from Keene State. What about Rebecca?
Rebecca. She came from Keene, which was definitely a huge help to us because she said like the practices were so different. At Keene, they practiced a couple more hours than we did here, but for our coach always says that the quality we swim is more than the quantity. Like we could have other teams that do a bunch of hours works the set, and we do give like all of our effort and all of our heart in every practice that we do. And she definitely does that. She's always one of the first ones I see that finishes a set first and gives her all in practice. And she's also a great distance swimmer. Like she's definitely one of our top distance swimmers. And in New England, she did phenomenal.
Yes, she did.
She did great. And so leading up to that, I think coach in the beginning of the season really saw that she was going to be a distance swimmer, really saw like her mentality and her attitude, and she always is really upbeat. I've never seen Becca like really down and out. Like she's always has a good attitude coming to practice, and I could definitely say that she tries 100% every practice. Like I will definitely give her that.
Okay, so last person we want to talk about is Meg Strazula. She is a sophomore. Kayla, you want to talk about Meg?
Sure. Megan's coming back for her second year. And she's definitely one of those swimmers that we can say who knows what she's going to be swimming this year. She is very talented in multiple strokes and multiple distances. Last year she mostly did freestyle and backstroke. And she's probably going to be put in a lot of other strokes. But distance-wise, I've seen her sprint and do very well. I've seen her do kind of mid-distance, and she has done very well. But she's always a very positive person. She's very goofy. She's very silly. She's like very loud when it comes to talking to new people.
She's great.
So she's great for coming back for that. And she's also she's only swimming up till LECs this year. She's studying abroad in London for her spring semester. So her LECs are going to be her championship meet. So I know she definitely has that set in her mind to, like, she's working as hard as she can right now because it's like her season has gotten cut down by a good 3 months. She has about a 2-month season, and so she's working really hard to get her times down to what she wants them to be at LECs, just because she has a lot less time to get the times that she wants.
That says a lot about her as a person, because really, knowing she wasn't coming back for the spring, she could easily just say, well, it's not worth me putting in all that time for 2 months. You know?
But yeah, no, she definitely has a good attitude. Like Kayla said, she really was really positive coming into the season. She's like, I want to dominate. And the other practice the other day, she was leading the lane and she was killing it during a sprint set, and it was awesome to watch. Mm-hmm. Like she really knows how to motivate herself, because a lot of people need the team to motivate them, which is great. I know I personally do, and like I can motivate myself as well. But she's definitely a person that can, if she needs to like get in the pool and do a set and crank it out, and know that she can put all of her effort into it.
Well, we talked about all the people coming back. We're not going to talk individually about the newcomers. You got 4 freshmen and two transfers that are coming in. But do you guys want to just talk about how the new group has sort of molded with the veterans?
This year, I feel like the newcomers coming in, I feel like more this year than last year's, they bonded instantly. We definitely have a lot of characters coming on the team this year. Everyone's very like loud and funny, and it fits into our team very well. there really hasn't been any person that has been quiet or distant. Everyone has seemed to like get along with each other great, and so it's like there's definitely great chemistry between our team this year. And so it makes practices better. It's going to make meets great to go to, and everyone's very supportive, and so it's looking good.
Well, considering you guys spend about 6 months out of the year together,
it's
good to have
gotta
good
love
people.
each other.
Yeah. A lot of love.
Well, ladies, thanks for your time, and good luck this weekend in your opener.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.